Danny Phantom, created by Butch Hartman in 2004, is an animated action comedy series that blends superhero tropes with supernatural horror and teen drama. At its core, the show explores identity, adolescence, and responsibility through the metaphor of a teenager caught between two worlds, the human and the ghostly. This show has many plot points, character development arcs, and dynamic storytelling that has inspired many writers and developers who have come after Danny Phantom's 3-year run. A great example of what this series has to offer shows its goods in episode 6. What You Want, debuting in season 1. The episode focuses on perspective, emotion, and story depth that goes beyond the surface level we may take it for during a first watch. Without further ado, let's take a closer look into the ghostly world of Danny Phantom. We get a look at Danny and one of his best friends, Tucker. The interesting thing about this episode is the perspective we get. We're in the mindset of Tucker and how he views his relationships with Danny. He mentions the two being irreplaceable, talking about how they do everything with one another. This is common in best friends in high school, still discovering themselves and finding identity. However, Tucker states one huge difference between the two, which is Danny's powers, which he obtained fairly recently. This takes us into a battle between Danny and a ghost, who started to wreak havoc on the area. Although we're getting an omniscient view of everything, the author did a great job of making us see it from Tucker's perspective, utilizing his inner dialogue throughout this portion of the episode. Danny quickly gains control of the situation by revealing a new ability while fighting Desiree, the main villain of this episode. Tucker shows excitement for Danny's new discovery, looking to celebrate with him, causing Danny to accidentally blast Tucker into one of the event booths. We fast forward to Tucker and Sam, who are supporting Danny as the mascot of their high school. This is during a football game, where Sam states she's sick and questions why she came. Tucker reminds her it's for Danny, showing his support for one of his best friends. Sam shrugs it off as she continues to cough and sneeze, trying to keep it together. The football team is struggling to move the ball down the field. Dash, the team's best player, tries his best to make plays to propel them, but fails ultimately. Each attempt leads to the opposing team dogpiling Dash. This leads to Dash stating he wished he had the ability of a monster to make plays like they needed. Cueing in Desiree, she grants the wish of Dash, turning him into a beast. This leads to Danny assessing the situation. After catching on, he asks Tucker to fill in as the mascot for him. Tucker's inner dialogue kicks in as he explains wanting to look out for his friend. The announcers are oblivious to the transformation of Dash. They compliment him on his muscles rather than running for their lives. Danny springs into action, using his powers to take out the ghostly power placed in Dash. As Danny takes the device to capture Dash's ghost away, Tucker is stuck getting bullied in the mascot suit after the game. Okay, this leads to our first dynamic trope of the story. Let's take a closer look. Danny is taking on a huge responsibility, keeping the peace of his home world from ghostly opposition. However, because the author is giving us the insight on Tucker's point of view, it creates a sense of negligence. How we see things with the utilization of Tucker's inner dialogue is more so like Danny isn't considering how Tucker may feel, throwing things on him, while the distance of Danny's life with his new powers is already a growing concern. The author does a great job setting up this dynamic even in a kids show, where it might not be realized right away. As Danny finishes up with Dash's ghost, he runs into a plot device, which will be important for later. This separates Danny from his super-powered self. He quickly merges back together before speaking with his parents. Both are showing symptoms similar to Sam from earlier in the story. Afterwards, Danny catches up with Tucker. As they walk to get tickets and snacks for a movie, Danny utilizes his powers freely. This only adds to the fact of differences between Tucker and himself. Desiree appears again, granting another wish. This causes Danny to bolt to action, leaving Tucker alone to get the tickets for their movie. Being frustrated with Danny taking off, Tucker reflects on the feeling of being left out. As Danny finishes up with the small problem Desiree created, Tucker, out of longing, wishes he had superpowers himself. This again summons Desiree to grant the wish Tucker desired. This creates another strong dynamic within the story. We've heard with great power comes great responsibility, and this shows within the story. Danny shoulders this role throughout the series. Although he is a young teen, he manages this responsibility maturely. However, Tucker, on the other hand, he does what a lot of individuals would do. And most of the time the fun of others can come at the expense of someone else's well-being. Even though he gets a taste of what Danny does as a superhero, he quickly becomes a hindrance. As Danny searches for Tucker, Desiree continues to cause problems throughout. This alerts Danny, forcing him to transform back into his super-powered self. He looks to save the life Desiree put in danger, chasing the vehicle she put a spell on. As Danny is in pursuit, Tucker shows up looking to still the shine of Danny. Again, showing the dynamic of naivety versus responsibility. While Danny looks to save a life, Tucker is looking to steal the spotlight of Danny, which only leaves Danny a slim amount of time to save everyone within the vehicle. Danny confronts Tucker, as both of their true feelings come to light. Danny thinks it's a bad idea for Tucker to have powers, while Tucker believes Danny is jealous of someone new taking over his job. Tucker is coming off with toxic energy, incorrect masculinity, instigation tactics and deflection, which we see in many teens. While Danny might be coming off with some jealousy with there being a new norm, but ultimately wanting the best out of the situation. Tucker gives Danny a like it or not speech, before flying off. Tucker calls Sam, and expresses the situation, stating how jealous Danny is of his new powers. School the next day rolls around, and Tucker is still bullying and joking around with his new abilities. Danny approaches him, trying to find a peaceful way to resolve things. However, Danny body jumps into Tucker, which is probably not the best tactic of getting things done. Danny continues to pursue Tucker, as he continues to mess with the students in the school. Danny realizes he needs to approach the situation differently. Danny tries confronting the lady who had Desiree's genie lamp during the beginning of the story. And we get lore on why Desiree grants wishes for those who desire such. It turns out Desiree was promised a kingdom and other wishes, only to be banished by the king's jealous wife. After dying and becoming a ghost, she's been granting wishes and desires for ages. This gives Danny an idea to capture her, once he confronts Desiree. She mentions Tucker's powers will turn permanent after the end of the day. Danny finishes her off, before pursuing Tucker. Danny finds Tucker at school, where he catches him changing his grades in the school system. It looks like he should focus on that more than his superpowers. Anyway, Danny reminds him how bad this is. Also that he can't just use his powers for situations like this. Tucker insists, which causes the final fight between the two to break out. Tucker's powers begin to mutate, which turns him into more of a beast than what he's been since receiving his abilities. Instead of Danny trying to take Tucker on by force, he looks to outsmart him. Showing his experience more than anything, Danny has Tucker chase him around until he gets him to his lab underneath his home. After somewhat of a distraction, Danny utilizes his ability to blast Tucker through the plot device we seen earlier in the story. After realizing what he's become after the separation, Danny captures the essence of Tucker's powers and they immediately make amends. Tucker apologizes for his faults, and Danny apologizes for showing off and neglecting Tucker's feelings. This episode gives us a strong look into how teens actually interact within their teen years. Minus the superpowers, of course. Make sure to subscribe for more breakdowns. Also leave suggestions of episodes you may want to see in the future.